Hey, Christ Central Church. For those of you who missed the congregational meeting on Sunday, I wanted to give you an update on all that's been happening in our church and some of what we're excited about coming this summer and in the fall. This past ministry year, our focus was to abide. And Jesus in John 15:4 invites us to abide in Him. And so as a church, we felt somewhat coming out of a pandemic, out of a lot of unrest, that we wanted to find our life in communion with Christ. We also wanted to reconnect with one another. We knew that in the past number of years there was a lot of bad formation, malformation that happened in the life of Christians as we were unable to be together, though we tried our best to stay connected. And so we offered a lot of ways in this past year to reconnect with one another and to be finding our life in Christ, abiding in Him. Churches all across the country experienced reshuffling in a lot of ways during the pandemic. People that were on the periphery of churches left. There was a lot of bad formation, malformation that happened as people couldn't be embodied together on a Sunday morning. And Christ Central was no exception to this. There have been people who were on the edges of our church who kind of drifted away. There were people who weren't able to connect and stopped coming to church on a Sunday who maybe have stopped church altogether. And at the same time, there's been a lot of new people who started coming to Christ Central as a result. And that's been really encouraging. On a Sunday morning over the last 12 months, we've been averaging about 500 people in attendance. That's about 70% of what we were pre-pandemic. And it's been a gradual increase over time, which is really encouraging as we see more and more people feel comfortable coming back. Our children has been increasing gradually as well as families feel comfortable bringing their children to church on a Sunday morning. We've offered a lot of ways to connect for formation in the life of our church over the last 12 months. Our city groups are going well. We had 16 city groups happening. Men's and women's Bible studies relaunched with a lot of engagement. Our youth has been thriving on Wednesday nights, and that's been very encouraging for us. And so there's a lot of good things that have happened in the last 12 months, and I really do feel like as we've sought to find life in communion with God, God has done what only He can do, which is bear the fruit in Christ Central Church. We're excited this summer to engage in some ways as well and reconnect. City groups pause, and so because of that, we want to offer a place for our whole church to come together, and we're doing that with City Fellowship. So 3 times this summer, we're going to offer City Fellowship, which is a time for the whole church to gather. Children, there'll be childcare. Youth will be gathering on Wednesday nights. We'll be gathering around food and a meal, and we'll hear a speaker each of the 3 times together. The speakers this summer are going to be engaging around mental health issues. Our first speaker coming up June 22nd is Dr. Jason Young, who's going to be talking around shame. Our own Eric Potter, who is a licensed counselor who started Potter Counseling, is going to be talking about anxiety in July. And then we will be discussing the loneliness epidemic book that we're reading as a church on August 3rd. And so I hope you will come to City Fellowship to be together as a church, as a body. We're doing a ton socially, men, women, differing demographics, 20s and 30s, 50-ish, is going to be hanging out all throughout the summer. And so if you are newer to Christ Central, we hope you'll come and check out one of these social gatherings. Come to City Fellowship, invite people to come. We're excited to connect together this summer. We've got great summer reading books suggested for you if you want to check out any of the 4 books. We hope you will, as a way to be formed, not just in our minds, but also in our hearts. As we look toward the fall, wanted to just share some things we're excited about with you. Our whole staff team got away in May and had a day of planning as we had been preparing, but the whole day we presented to staff things we're excited about our different areas. And I wish you could have been there. We have a phenomenal staff team. I would say that our church feels as united and together and healthy maybe as ever. We are together, we're excited about where God's calling us. And if you could have heard our staff team present each of their areas, I'm telling you, you would have been impressed because we have an incredible staff team. Our leaders are excited about where we're headed, and so we're united together in what God's calling us toward. In the fall, we're going to be launching some new formation initiatives Our Become initiative, which was a 2-year initiative that maybe you're familiar with, we're excited to announce that we're putting some feet to the leadership development piece of Become. So we have made movement with long-term home, we've made movement with church planting, and now we're really excited to make some movement with leadership development. We will have 2, Lord willing, 2 Become interns who will be minority candidates who are coming on, who will help get a master's degree and pursue a vocation in ministry, and launching them from us over a number of years. And so we're excited. Can't wait to tell you who they are, but that's coming. And so we're looking forward to this next fall together. I pray that we all have summers of rest and renewal, that God strengthens each of us. And as we head into the fall, I pray that you would pray with and for us, and that we would be together as we look forward to what God's calling us to. From a financial standpoint, we're finishing the year in an encouraging way. Our budget was 1.85 for the year. Our budget ends July, starts August. And 1.85 was our budget. It looks like we're going to have about 2.2 million come in for the year. And so I just want to say thank you for your generosity. Thank you for being a part of our church. As we look towards the new year, fall to spring of next year, our budget will increase as we prepare for the growth that God has already given us, as we look forward to more growth by His grace and by His own doing. And so our plan is to increase our budget. And so I would ask that you would be prayerful around what generosity continues to look like. And we're hopeful that God will continue to do what only He can do, that He who began a good work in this church 8 years ago will continue to build His church and gain the glory. I'm so thankful for you, thankful for this church, thankful for how God is at work. I hope you have a great summer. I hope we have a great summer together, being renewed and refreshed. Please continue to be in prayer about the fall as we look forward to being the church that God's called us to be, that we abide in Him and that He does what only He can do, which is build His church, and that He would gain the glory as we seek to be a church in Durham for Durham.